again from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So as you saw at the beginning of this video, I have been busy prepping this bed for planting. I was removing all of the tulip foliage, and I know some of you are probably thinking, if you sold tulips this spring, why do you have so much foliage left in the garden? Well, between two large hailstorms, I lost at least 1,500 tulips to the hail damage. So not the best tulip year, not the worst tulip year. But anyway, we've had so much rain. This bed is finally dried out where I was able to properly amend it, and I'll be able to get it planted. And we're supposed to get more rain tomorrow, so I'm trying to get as much planted as I possibly can today. In this video, I also need to walk you guys around the garden because last week between rain, I was trying to plant as much as I frantically possibly can. I didn't want to take the time to set up the camera. So after we're done planting this bed, I'm going to give you a tour of everything that I have planted so far for the cut flower season that you probably haven't seen in a video, and give you updates on the things that I have shown you. So the first thing I need to do is burn my holes in my landscape fabric for this bed. So let me go grab my torch and we'll get that done. So the two things that I'm going to be planting first in this bed are some Fama Blue and White Scabiosa pincushion flower and some blue and white glitter sea holly or eryngium. The Scabiosa needs to be 9 inches spaced, and the eryngium I'm going with 12. I've read online 12 to 18, but since I'm doing these for cuts, I want them to grow up. So I'm going to do them 12. Is that too close? Maybe I'll see how the Famas space out. Maybe I want to go further with those. But either way, I'm going to do the pincushion flower first. So the way that I burn my holes for my landscape fabric is I use one of these kitchen torches. So this is a 4-foot bed. It's about, 28 to 30 feet long. It's the length of my hoop house. And the way that I burn my holes is I use one of these little kitchen torches. I will link this down below. I know a lot of people make templates, and that is great. But this, for me, is just a really easy way. I will also link the butane that you get from here. This is like what they use for creme brulee. It goes so fast. And honestly, if I'm doing little areas here and there every year, it's totally worth just buying one of these. They're like $15, something like that. So I'm going to do 9-inch spacing. So I'm just going to lay out my tape measure. I don't want to start all the way at the edge. Oh, this might end up laying out perfect. All right. 1, no, oops. 9, 18, 20. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to get 6 rows across. Let me do this way a little bit, and then I can get my grid going. I only need 54 holes. All right, so see how fast that goes? I have 6 this way, 9 this way, and this will be it for my Famas. So I still have a lot of bed left. Okay, so that should be just enough holes. I also should mention I did amend this bed before I put the landscape fabric down, and I used a combination of topsoil with compost and biotone starter fertilizer. I like to use some topsoil in here just for drainage. If you saw some of my videos from the last couple years, we have been creating this cut flower planting area where I have a parking lot. And so below this is gravel that is pretty compacted. We have definitely enough soil, 8 to 10 inches, that it's plenty deep for these annuals for a year. But I just like to, within the soil itself, give it enough drainage. So I like to mix some topsoil in. So topsoil, compost, and biotone starter fertilizer. Behind me, you can see this planting area. That is where I direct sowed all of my zinnias yesterday. I did quite a number of varieties, and I'm going to have another zinnia planting area that will be my second succession. This is the first one. All of my floret varieties are here. I also did 3 colors of the Cresto zinnia, and then I did some Oklahoma salmon, Oklahoma white, and then Benaries. I did purple lilac and white. My second succession planting of zinnias is going to be more the fall colors, so more purple, deep red, wine, orange, yellow. So that'll be really fun to have different colors throughout the season. All right, let's get to planting these. So this soil is really loose. I don't even know if I'm going to need my garden trowel, but I do need a little bit more soil in this first hole. These are really nice plugs too. All of this stuff I started from seed. So these are going to be really easy to pop in here. I'm just kind of making a hole with my fingers and then filling in some soil right around the plant. Okay, so as you saw, I got all the Fama scabiosa planted. They're all watered in. I also watered the zinnias behind me. Then I took a lunch break because I was getting pretty hungry, but I'm back now. I'm gonna get this sea holly planted, or eryngium. I have the blue glitter and the white glitter. And as I was home for lunch, I was reading online in the Facebook flower farmer group because I still wasn't sure on how to space these. And I read on one specific post in there, a lot of people recommended 12 inches and it worked fine for them. So that's what I'm gonna do because that will take up less space than 18 inches. So I'm just gonna get these holes burned. I do have up in the corner here a few open spaces, so I'm gonna pop one in the corner there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay out my tape measure and I'm gonna do 12 inches from the center of these holes out. Maybe I should do this way first. Well, we'll keep it in line. $12, $24. It ends up being right on the line, which is 12-inch spacing on my landscape fabric. Okay, I'm gonna get these holes burned, I'm gonna get these planted, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, these are all planted. I need to water these in, and then I want to walk you around the entire garden and show you everything that I planted within the last week that I haven't shown you yet. Okay, so just for frame of reference on where we were planting, hoop house here, zinnias here, and then right over here, this is where we were planting the eryngium and all of the Fama. Now, I have not shown you this area. Right over here, and I'll try to move the camera slowly. This is some feverfew that I planted last year. It's coming back nicely. Actually, it should be blooming pretty soon. And then this row, I continued either feverfew or last fall I actually had planted some perennial, I believe it was salvia, a certain kind. I'll put the name up on the screen. White and purple, I think. A lot of it did not come back. I actually had some plugs that I saved and planted in a different area, and those came back. So you can see here, hopefully I'm not shadowing it, this is feverfew, but then if you move over here, you can see that this plant is different. This is the salvia. So this row is just going to be a perennial row, and it is a mix of salvia and feverfew. And then the Fama that we planted and the eryngium that we planted should also be perennial. So these two rows will be all perennials. And then I really like this area for zinnias because I can fit a lot of them in there. So that's just kind of my yearly zinnia direct sowing area. I can't remember if I showed you when I planted these 4 beds. I don't think that I did. Well, actually 3 of them. So this is all feverfew that came back from last year, and it is looking really great. This bed, I transplanted some honeywort, and clearly it's not doing good. I maybe have one that made it. So I have since then direct sown some just to see if it'll come up, but I restarted some inside because I really did enjoy honeywort last year. You can see there's a little bit of self-seeded feverfew there. And then here I had a few clary sage seedlings. I plugged them in. I don't know if they'll grow, but that's where they ended up. Then this bed, this is larkspur that is self-sown. I'm letting it grow on. And then this is some saponaria that I tried to start inside. It is better direct sown, so I'm planning to do that as well. But I put the plugs in here, and I also have, there's a few little Chinese forget-me-nots. I don't know if they'll make it, but I had them, so I popped them in here as well. And then over here, these are all straw flower, and they're looking real good. So if you've been following my videos, you know that this is where all of my daffodils are, and they're starting to die off, but this is also where I plant all my pumpkins. It goes all the way down there. I have 96 feet, and all my pumpkins are planted. I have a video I'm going to post on it, but I made spots for the pumpkins. Those are done, so watch for that in a video. All right, so we're coming into the fenced-in garden now, and I have planted quite a bit in here. Dahlias are the last thing to go in right now, so watch for a video on that. But I have this random little spot here, kind of under my pergola. There it is. Try not to move the camera too fast. That one probably made you dizzy. But this random little spot here is full of, this is mountain mint that is a perennial. This is Bells of Ireland that clearly self-sowed itself and is loving it. So that's probably just going to be there for eternity. But this little area was open, so I had some extra feverfew seedlings, and I just plugged them in all along the path, and I think it's going to be perfect. And then if we swing around here, I did a video on this, but this is where all my snapdragons are planted. I have some straw flower right there. And then yesterday, I did come in and plant the first of my dahlias. Now there's 18 in here. These are the dahlias that were either cuttings or the tubers that I took the cuttings from that I let grow, and then they continued to grow. So I have a head start on 18 dahlia plants. Okay, so we're looking into the fenced-in garden from the other direction now. The trellis got moved back a little bit because when they brought in the lift to tuck point our neighboring building, it got driven right through here, kind of destroyed some stuff. I knew that was going to happen. All of our raspberries were right here. All of those got dug and they're getting moved. But this is kind of the new pathway with the trellis. And I currently, at the bottom of each leg, have my mini pumpkins planted. None of them are coming up yet, but those are already planted as well. And then if we kind of swing around into the cottage garden area, I have a little strip here where I usually sow some cosmos. So I plug some cosmos seedlings in there. And then this curve here, these are all Fama White, which I just planted. These are from last year. And as you can see, we're getting some blooms already. So this little patch right here, I filled in with a bunch more of the Fama White. So this whole angle here will now be all Fama White pincushion flowers. And you can see this area is really filling in. I want this just to be solid, perennial cutting area. So I have a lot of daisies and echinacea in here. This whole front area, all the little plants there are all Sahara Rudbeckia. And then towards the back of it are Goldilocks. Is that right? Yes, Goldilocks Rudbeckia. And they also are all back in here. Okay, so now we're on the new property. This is the new planting area that we cannot plant in yet because my gas line is going to come right through there. But this is the area that we created last year. Isn't it looking so good? You can see some peonies are in bloom. It's basically full of a lot of peonies, daisies, penstemon, baptisia, and then I moved the hydrangeas over here from against the building because that's where the HVAC has to go. But also right here, here's another little patch of the Fama White Scabiosa. And then we're gonna walk over to the hoop house one more time because as you know, I have yet another planting area. This bed. Now this is probably gonna be mostly direct sown sunflowers. I think I'm gonna fill in with some more zinnias here. I just prepped this last night, but this is where all my Mahogany Splendor hibiscus is living this year. Same place as last year, and they worked really well. My plants are huge this year already, so can't wait to see these start growing on. And the hoop house is a jungle. This is a look from the side. I don't even know what you guys can see, but this back corner I did turn over, and this is where some Lisianthus got put in. And these are the seedlings that are gonna go in next. We have Amaranth, Cresspedia, and Celosia. All right, you guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. That is planting session number 3 and an update on planting session number 2 that I didn't film for you guys. I feel like I'm finally making headway. The next thing I'm gonna pop out here and plant, I think yet this afternoon, which I'll set the camera up, are my dahlia tubers. Those are going here in the fenced-in garden. I'm gonna see how many of those I can get in. Then I'm going to be planting, as I showed you, Cresspedia and Amaranth. Those are going out there. And then Celosia, I have a certain spot in here. My Selway Celosia is going, and then the rest of the Celosia is going in another patch. And what do I have left? I have some Cosmos left. I have a few Status left, but I think I had some Status die off. I need to replace those. And then I'm going to be direct sowing sunflowers every 2 weeks and a whole nother session of zinnias of the fall colors. So anyway, oh, and my winter sowing. I'm going to plan out my winter sowing. So anyway, stay tuned for all that. Plus, I'm getting a plug shipment the end of June. Stay tuned for that. And farmers markets start next week. So I'll be filming those too. Gosh, there's so much going on. And my photography business ramps into the busy season. I feel tired already. Anyway, good thing I drink caffeine during the day. So I'm going to stop rambling. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful week. Stay tuned for lots more videos, and we'll see you soon. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to this channel and tell all your friends to watch my videos.